Okay, ready to go?
Yeah, it's running.
Okay, very good. Okay, Mohammed, it's great to be with you again. I am so excited for us to be, I guess we would be call it maybe closing the loop on this exciting project of not just creating the content, but also posting the content to our WordPress site. This is something that is very significant for us at New to Media because we are trying to create content for many, many cities, almost 300 cities, and that number will grow. So using automations to create content that will be um, informative and hopefully interesting for various people moving to new cities or visiting other cities is going to be so valuable for us. You have spent a lot of time educating me on organizing our data. I've enjoyed learning through RTILA Academy, and I continue to work on that. And I'm looking forward to today getting a little bit more education from you on how we can um, create a loop for the process so that it will be repeated for many different cities. And I think you're also going to help us to, we're going to also, I think, experiment a little bit with the ChatGPT because we are asking it to do some pretty special things there also.
Indeed. Thank you also for your patience and your trust. I think we're moving maybe not as fast as we could have wished, but we're making progress. Slow
Oh, we're
but steady
getting there.
progress. Yeah.
Getting there, absolutely, and it's we can see the light at the end of the tunnel on some of these incredible projects. I know you're not just working with people one on one or in small groups, but you're also working on the curriculum.
Indeed.
You're working, I know, many hours every day. So I appreciate your diligence and your dedication to helping all of us.
No, like we discussed before, this is a win-win because I'm also learning. I mean, teaching is learning, and learning is also in a way teaching. It's like a
Right.
bidirectional thing. So I learn, at the pedagogical level. Also, it helps me see how a business person thinks and like the sequence in your mind as a business person. When you have an
Yes.
objective, you know where is the data, you know where is the objective, and then it's very
Hmm.
interesting to see how where you start from.
Right.
Uh, and I think that's what we can share also with the community. And I'll be sharing
Yes.
also with you today, if we can, like it's not the absolute truth or the best way or the right way, but maybe I can share with you how I would approach enriching your data. Uh, and
Right.
and uh,
Absolutely.
and I'm sure you can find a better way later on, but then we can at least look at the one that I use.
Absolutely.
So let's take the so we have. Oh, I should share my screen first. Go here. Yeah, screen one. Okay. Let me know once you see my screen.
I do.
Okay, cool. So here we have so there are 2 points that I want to bring as a reminder for everyone
Hmm.
also who would go through this experience is that first, before we try to scrape or to automate something, sometimes the data, or at least the commodity level of that data, the base level of that data, is available somewhere open source.
Right.
So if I remember correctly, this was a US open source database of the cities. And
Right.
why it's interesting to get it, because then we are using the right or orthograph, the right spelling of the city
Hmm.
names. We're using the right
Hmm.
zip codes, VS county. So we have like the official standard from the government. So that's important when you're
Hmm.
starting with a commodity. I call this commodity data. It's the one that you're going to
Okay.
enrich as you go. So we find the commodity data, and then we already organize the columns because this is your entity called the location. And then we created all the
Hmm.
attributes that you're going to need. And then the second part that we need to do, because this is what I was trying to call the big dump, the big first dump.
Right. Right.
So that's where we start from. And I think we have, there is something like a few thousand rows. So it's a pretty big file. Yeah, there's a few thousand rows.
It is. It
So,
is.
so the good practice when you start with this big dump is that you don't try to use RTILA or another software that goes row by row or column by column. Here you better go file with the whole file. You work with the file system. So that's why we have it in Excel first. This is an Excel document. So now we can move to step 3 because we have the big dump of our initial data. And what I propose to do is that we can I'm going to bring another window right here. We bring it into Google Sheet because the good thing with Google Sheet is that then we can go row by row and enrich the data since we have done the big dump. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to make sure I save this in a place that I can find it back. So I'm going to save it into my downloads folder. So it's called entity locations. Let's put it in downloads. All right. Yes. And now I can go to Google Sheet and I will just do file, and I think it's called import. And upload. Let's upload this file. Here it is. It's 2.6 megabyte. So when it's text, it's a lot of data already.
Yeah.
Okay, import the data. Now I can open it. Yes, so now we have our first batch of data, and our first column, which has the zip code, is here, is column A. So if we had to do this, Zack, using RTILA or another software and go and copy line by line, it would have taken us a few hundred hours.
Absolutely.
But because we've downloaded it as a file and then we re-upload it as a file, it's a matter of minutes. So that's the good practice. Now, what we can do is that we can go and I think last time we started to create content which was about the location, but we can also fill up some other data about these locations. For example, we could try to get the sales tax or any other attribute that you have in mind.
Right.
How do you want to enrich each location so that we can create an enrichment loop?
Yeah, what I have in mind, and I would love to get your feedback on this, because there are some, I think to just have RTILA look at the city and state each time and kind of like we talked about, go through it, if the content's been created, stop. If it's already been posted, stop. But then you'll notice when you look at the cities, sometimes a city is duplicated because there are numerous zip codes or something like that. And
Yes.
I think that's a good thing for us to, instead, I don't think we need to necessarily look at the county, but I think we need to have, RTILA needs to, like Bessemer, Alabama, for example, you see 3 different Bessemers there.
Yes.
But if we can have it go through and stop if it has already created content for Bessemer, that would help to eliminate some of the overlap. And in the same manner, like you pointed out before, once it has not just created the content, but once it has published the content, it could also stop.
Yes, that's a good point. So let's look at a way to do that. We have a simple way, which is we could use the Google Sheet delete duplicates to delete these two occurrences of Bessemer, because maybe this zip code is the base zip code of that city.
Right.
It's because the next one is +2, +3. So one way of doing it is that in your list already we remove the county, and then once we remove the county, we remove the duplicates of the combination city state.
Okay. Okay.
Would that make sense for you? Because I think that would be the
Sure.
cleanest.
Sure, that's
Yeah.
fine. I think it will be good for us to keep the zip codes just because
Yeah.
we may still introduce a search by zip code tool at some
Yes.
point in the future.
So we
But
keep.
I think we can get rid of the duplicates in the um, county, city, and state
Yeah. And
columns.
I have a suggestion. So we can keep the base zip code, and then
Uh-huh.
in your algorithm or in the way you process the data later, you know that
Hmm.
every zip code can go +9. So
Right.
if it's 35020, it can go up to
Uh-huh.
29 at least, and then it would
Okay.
capture any surrounding zip code.
Okay. Okay.
Because if I
That's
look
good
at
to know.
another case here, Clanton, it starts at 45, but then if I cover
Yeah.
+1, I get also this one. So
Yeah.
we could solve this post when we search and filter the data. We can arrange
Yeah.
the radius of the zip code. Let's call it that way,
Hmm.
the radius of the zip code.
Yes.
So because I think what is good here is that if you can keep one line per location, but really the mother location of that area, that will be easier for
Okay.
us on the long term.
Sure.
Okay, so let's try to do that. So county we don't need, yeah? I remove the column of county.
I don't think so. I mean,
Okay,
yeah.
let's remove it. And then here, what we need to try to do is, I know how to delete duplicate rows, but I do not know how to delete duplicate rows that have a different number here. So let's try it out. I'm gonna first remove this, and there is a search. Data cleanup, remove duplicates. Let's see what it tells us. Yes, here. So I don't want to consider the column A, but starting from
Mhm.
column B onwards, yes, we want to remove the duplicates.
Mhm.
So let's try that.
Yep. That's good. I'm learning something here.
Yeah, it says no duplicate rows found. Okay, so it didn't ignore the zip code.
Oh,
Let's do another way.
it's duplicates in a column though, not rows.
Oh, that was duplicate in, maybe I missed it.
Well,
Let's
I
just
think
do it
that's
again.
what it would be. Data
Remove
cleanup.
duplicates.
Yeah.
So which columns? Data has
Uh,
header row. Yeah, data has a header row.
okay.
So I don't want to compare column A. This is how I understand it, but I may be
Yeah.
wrong.
Right.
Let's try again. No, it doesn't find. So we need to find a different way. Mhm. Data.
Yeah, there would be a duplicate.
There
You're
should
right. It
be
would
a
be a
way.
duplicate.
Yeah. Cleanup suggestions. Let's see. It says no, no. Let's see why. Yeah, so this also maybe we can remove. I don't want to delete completely
Hmm.
the zip code column because that will not help us.
Right. Yeah, I think we'll use that.
Yeah. Okay, maybe this is a Google Sheet thing, so maybe I can look it up later on, and I will correct it and share with you the
Okay.
solution.
Okay,
But
that'll be good.
yeah, for now, let's just try to fill up some data, and then I'll figure out how to clean up these rows.
Yeah, I think right.
Yep.
And I think
Yeah,
despite lots of because we have a lot of the information already, and we are going to pull a lot of the information from ChatGPT.
Yeah.
I think we need to figure out how to best format all of that information that we're going to get,
Yeah.
combining the ChatGPT and this information.
That's right. I have a suggestion,
Okay.
which I think will be a bit more easy to begin and work with ChatGPT. And I've tried it
Sure.
in another project before. I think it's a
Okay.
stable data. Is that what we could do is that for every city, state,
Uh-huh.
we ask ChatGPT to give us a quick history of the town, of the city. This city was
Okay.
founded in 1817 something. It was known for this and this and that, because that ChatGPT can find it over the internet, even if the data point ends in September 2021. It will. So,
Okay.
and also it can be useful for you to have an introduction about the history of the city.
Yes,
And so
absolutely.
we could start with that, because we could say we can ask ChatGPT to give us 150 words to summarize the history of that city, and that should be like standardized enough and gives a bit of value, and also it's not too long for us to deal with as a learning example. Yeah, should we do
Right.
that? So
Sure. And I think hopefully we will find a way to ask ChatGPT many questions at one time and receive them in a format that can easily be transferred to this. I don't know.
yes, well,
That's one thing
that's
we
no, it gets complicated with ChatGPT when you ask for different types of information in one output. I think it would be
okay.
easier to send specific small queries. Like we do the history, and then after we do the history, we do the top points of interest or the top activities in that. You know, you split it into,
Okay.
because you will
Okay.
see
Maybe that's it.
yeah, that is easier for run it as a bot to update, and also the more you reduce the amount of data that we exchange with ChatGPT, the more we reduce the risk of that data breaking something at some point.
Exactly.
So a chunk of 150 words, 250 words, it will be fast enough and very easy to deal with. So maybe we could call this history.
Okay.
I don't know how many words you think we should get. 150, 200
No, I think
words?
that's good. I think that's a good that's a good estimate. We can change that later if we want.
Very good. So now let's do a data enrichment loop using ChatGPT to get the history for each of these, yeah?
Okay.
And we will get it in double for now, but it's just for the learning. Yeah?
Sure.
Okay, so first thing to do when we're working with this is that you need to get this sheet to be shareable with others, with whoever has the link should be able to write, so that ChatGPT can go and write. So here, instead of restricted, I put anyone with the link, and then I put editor. So the good thing is that there is very little chances that someone is going to guess this URL. It's going to be only between you and your team. So there is no much of a security risk. So now I take this URL, and then let's go to RTILA, and we're going to create a project from scratch, which is new to media. Let's call it Enrich. We're enriching the data. Enrich location sheets with history, and we're using GPT to do it. So that's for us to remember what we're doing. Let's go. Okay, it takes a bit of time. Okay, we're there. Yeah, once I get into recording and stuff, it's super slow.
That's okay.
We could also start, actually, we could start with, let's do another thing. Let's start with our Google Sheet so that we can see what we're doing. So I'm going to change the starting URL from Google to this spreadsheet. That will be more easy for us.
Okay.
So now let's launch it again. Yeah, it's my computer that is hanging a bit.
No, that's okay.
Yeah. Okay, let's go now. I forgot actually this Google Sheet is very long, so it's
Yes.
it may
Yes,
be
it is.
slower than Google for my connection and my computer for now. Let's wait
Well,
another
and
few seconds.
I know that um, if we had to, we could probably cut it down to fewer columns because I think even if we just had the city and state, we would know which locations to
Hmm.
create content for.
Mm,
Um,
well, I think it's okay.
but
We can keep it because this is like your mother database. You want to have all your
yes,
columns. Later, maybe
right.
we can create smaller sets, but let's deal with the, like we say in
Okay.
French, take the bull by the horn.
Okay. I
Uh,
like it. I like it.
so now we see what we're doing. We see the column letters, which is what I wanted.
Mhm.
Let's now use our custom command, which is inside new command in custom, and then I'm going to look for sheets. This is our latest version
Yes.
0.3. So we're going to first feed the spreadsheet URL, which is the one I just copied and is loaded here.
Hmm.
And then later on, we can use a license key to go faster, but let's configure the basics. So first we need to make sure that the sheet name is indeed sheet 1. And here it's feuille 1 because I have a French browser. so I need to, you see, that's a first mistake that I could have done. So I need to rename it to feuille 1. Okay, so sorry, I'm gonna switch off my phone. Okay, so now we're reading into the right sheet, and what we want to do um, is to go is to fill up the F column for every row.
Hmm.
Yeah. So we want to first.
Yes.
I'm trying to share with you the thinking. So here you see there's something that I don't know if you went through the course about. It's called flows and statuses.
Hmm.
So
Oh,
you
well, I
see
remember. I did. I don't think there was the video up yet, but it was. I think the text was there.
exactly,
Correct.
yes,
Or yep.
yes.
Yep.
So you see, I'm missing that status column because right now I don't know how to tell RTILA it's going to go through everything, and we may want to do
Yes.
different data. So let's add the status column. So I insert to the left,
Hmm. Yes.
and this is, let's call it, this is enrichment status. Enrich status, that would be column B. And which
Hmm.
let's say that to do, it means that RTILA has to do it for this row. And what I'm going to
Hmm.
do is that, hey, we can solve our duplicate because we can just put to do for those that we want to be done. And these two, I'm
Yep.
going to ignore them. And then we do, this is already 20, which is a lot. Let's do 10 because we're learning.
Okay.
So I always forget. 10 is already quite a good, even 3 actually. To test our logic, 3 is enough. And the
Yep.
first 3 rows are 3 different, yeah, it's 3 different cities in Alabama. Okay, very good.
Yes.
So what we need to tell to RTILA, the logic of the Google Sheet, Zack, is that you first need to do what we call a lookup. You need to look up which rows that you want to modify.
Right.
And that's what I'm going to do here. I'm going to look up all the rows that have to do in column B. And for
Yep.
all the rows that this is going to find, we will send the data to ChatGPT, get the data, and
Yep.
and save it back right here. So So that's why I'm going to use first get data, because I want to know which rows, and I want to get the unique ID of the row, which is the column A.
Yep.
So the column A will guide me as to which row we want to change. So
I
I'm
also noticed, I'm sorry to interrupt, but I just
no,
want
please.
to brag on what you're doing again, or boast. I also noticed from one of your videos that you can also change it to do this at certain times of the day, or even certain scheduling during the month, correct?
That's very right. Yeah, we can add a lot
Yeah.
of time conditions or semantic condition. Yeah. I mean, once you understand this concept of looking up a data in Google Sheet and then doing stuff with RTILA, you can almost do
Yep.
anything you want with this data.
It's incredible. So just as an example, how that will help us is each month around, let's just say middle of the month, we're going to start creating the content for next month.
Yeah.
Because we want to, say the 15th of February, we want to start creating the March content.
I see
And
what you mean.
so, and so we're going to schedule it to do that. And that way it will, and we may also, and you'll have to tell me if this is beneficial. I know that many people are being very cautious to make their ChatGPT usage as human-like as possible for algorithm reasons. And so I wonder if it's also something we should be doing during business hours. Should we just be creating content during business hours? Do you think creating content in the middle of the night is going to, make it less effective? I don't know.
No, I have, again, it's a personal approach that I do since I've been
Uh-huh.
using AI, and I've been using the very early versions of before ChatGPT. They were, I don't know if you saw it, it was called Article Forge, and they were using another neural network way before
Okay.
this. So already at that time, there was discussions that how much can you create with an AI, and when
Right.
another AI is going to be able to know that this was not done by a human.
Yes.
So the best way I found to do that, and it's the same question when you're doing academic work, with plagiarism and so on.
Mm-hmm.
So the rule that I found is that if you create, let's say you have a volume in mind. Let's say you think you want to get an article of 1,000 words. If you do 700 words with AI and 300 words by a human, nobody
Mm-hmm.
can disqualify you.
Right.
Because at that moment, there is enough human mistakes and variance that makes the whole
Right.
article kind of coined as a human content. That's what worked for now for me when I was testing all this with
Right.
anti-AI tools or
Well,
anti-plagiarism too or whatever.
well, and let me ask you, do you think that portion that I created, that 30%, could that be used on for numerous cities, you think?
Yes.
Or
Yeah.
should each, okay,
Yeah.
because that would be no problem.
Yeah, so I'll give you the secret sauce. So you create. So let's take a smaller article. Let's say you want to do 300 words.
Yes,
So 30% of 300 words is 100 words. But
right,
then as a human, you don't want to spend 30% of the time of what your AI is going to do, because you're not really leveraging a big levy. But what you can do is
right,
that you create a first sentence of 100 words or a paragraph.
right,
That paragraph, because it was done by you as a human, is already unique, very unique. And then
right.
we use another AI to spin this paragraph. Now we can
Mm-hmm,
spin it into 20 paragraphs. And
mm-hmm,
then we use those paragraphs to go and query the next ones. So now you multiply it
mm-hmm.
by 10 or 20 your initial human input. That's how I do so. I come up with the initial prompt or the initial sentences. I spin them.
Right,
So the semantic remains the same. And after I spin it, now I have 20, 30, 100 spins. Then I use those spins to create the variation with the next level with the AI. I don't know if it makes
right.
sense, because we would need to find a good example, but that's how I do to reduce the human work, yet giving a human touch to a more massive body of content.
Well, that's very helpful, and I'll
We'll experiment it, and you will find
work to
your
that end.
balance. Yeah.
Very good.
So let's start with a simple thing. Simple thing. Let's start with this first level.
Okay.
So we created the column status, which is about enriching. And actually, I'm not specific enough. I should call it enrich history. Oh no, I have another idea, because we want to use
Okay.
this column to deal with different content life. So
Okay.
instead of calling it to do, I'm just going to say history, so that when ChatGPT finds history here, it knows that it has to pull the history template or the history bot. So that would be more beneficial. And for example, here, maybe you will have news. This one just needs the news updated. This one just needs weather. We could use the same column to tell RTILA to what kind of data is to be enriched.
Okay.
That's one way. Otherwise, we can create one column status for every type of data that we want to generate. I'm just sharing with you the possibilities. So let's try this way. It could be to do, or it could be history. Let's use history for now, if that's okay with you.
Sure.
Yeah. So now what I'm going to tell RTILA is I'm going to tell it search in this column for this value, and then return to me the value that is in column A. So I want to search in, so how you call it, the syntax is you put the column letter, and then you put double dot, or column in English, and then the content that is your status. So I'm going to tell it look into column, B, and then double dot, and find me all the columns that have history, find me all the rows that have history in column B. That's what it means here. We are telling this custom command, go search for history in column B, and then return to me column A value. That's what I'm telling it. So it's going to go and it should give me 3 results. It should give me this zip code, and this zip code. That's what I want, because then I can feed this to the next loop that will write. So this is the reading loop, the lookup. So let's do the lookup first. So then what we can do is we can use an alert. And this alert, we call it found rows. And then I'm going to display the current value of this variable. So this is a variable. So I'm going to copy the variable name. And if you remember, I can express a variable in RTILA by doing the open these curly brackets. And then I put the variable name, and then I close with curly brackets. So now it will display here whatever we get back from the Google Sheet command. And it will show it to us on the screen. That's our first test. At least we know if the lookup is working. So let's try it out. Don't hesitate to slow me down or ask me to repeat, because
no, this is good. And as I said the last time, I will go back and watch this. I always go back and watch them a second time.
Yeah, it's not natural at the beginning unless you're a programmer. For programmers, this is like bread, butter and bread. It's very easy. So let's wait for the alert. I'm going to move the camera here. It's taking a bit of time to load all the... You were right. Maybe I should have cut to 100 rows, maybe. It's okay.
No, that's okay. That's okay. I am
Where are we?
Not in a rush.
Okay. It's starting now. So you see, it find the first... It only find the first zip.
Okay.
You see here. So this is because I'm not using my key. So it only gives us one result by one result. So let me make this a bit easier. I'm going to get my my premium RTILA premium key, prime key. That will be faster for us to do this. So we have 2 versions of the custom command. We have the free version, which will stop at the first row that it finds and tell you, okay, 35004 has history. Go do your thing, and then come back and query again. So it's slower, and why it's slower? We made it artificially slower because here it's consuming from the our Google App Pro account, and we have like a limited number of queries we can do per day, per month. So that's why we slow it down so that not one person takes all the allocation of every user, because this is like shared resource. And therefore we made then a premium one that then pulls from a larger and more capacity account. And then for that, when you have the RTILA prime key, it will give you all the results one go, because it will be using a different resource. So I'm gonna find it first, my RTILA prime. Okay, where did I order it? Not yet. Ah, yeah, I got my key now. Okay, so I get my RTILA key. So let's stop this. Let's go and put the prime key. There is almost a 3-second lag. You know, the interesting part is that the video reacts well, but my other computer stuff is slow.
Huh.
Which is weird.
Yeah, the resolution on your camera is still very good. I mean, it's clear picture, clear sound.
Yeah. Likewise, I see you very clearly, and it's not buffering or slowing down. So but it's using a different protocol. It's called UDP. So sound and video, they use UDP, and the rest is using TCP/IP, and it has to wait for the. I don't know if you're familiar with that technology, but TCP/IP has to wait for the end of the package before actually analyzing the package. So if one small bit is missing, the whole chain is put on hold.
Oh.
But video and sound, even if a bit is missing, they will just throw at you the video. We will understand it. Okay, now it loaded everything. So here in the Google Sheet, I'm going to put my key. Oh, no, I didn't copy it properly. So here, it's here. Okay, finally, and then the email that bought this key. And now I'm going to show you what I was trying to explain. Instead of getting just one zip code, it should give us the 3 zip code, because it will give us everything that it found inside the Google Sheet.
Okay.
Okay, so we have to wait a bit as well. And we can see here it's still loading the big Google Sheet. Now it's finished. It should kick off the Google Sheet command. Okay, you see we get the 3 results.
There you go.
Yeah.
Great job.
So that's first step done. We are able to look up the rows that we really need to change, that we want to change. So our targeting is working. Now we can move to the next step. Now the next step is to go and use again our RTILA custom Google Sheet custom command. I'm going to duplicate it. And now we're going to use it to write data. And let's start by writing static data for testing our read and write inside the Google Sheet. Once we are able to write static data, we will use ChatGPT.
Yep. Yeah, like you said, the history that's not going to be changing. That's,
Yeah.
very, very rarely will we update that.
Yeah,
Um,
and I think that's where ChatGPT is very reliable. This kind of data that is like a bit static, a bit frozen in time, is the perfect
yeah,
data that you can rely on with ChatGPT.
yep,
So I'm going to duplicate this. We have it here. And actually, let's rename the stuff because this, let's call it Google Sheet lookup because that's what we are doing in this first command. We're looking up the
okay,
stuff. And because I changed the name of the variable, I also need to change it inside here. Voila. And then this one is going to be Google Sheet write. So we're going to
okay,
write data. And then
yep,
we're also going to alert our writing data. Okay. And here in the write mode, what we want to do is that we want for whatever we received from this Google Sheet lookup. So I'm going to copy. This is right now the data that we got. The 3 zip codes. They are in this
yes,
variable name. So I'm just copying the current value of Google Sheet lookup, and I'm going to tell
mhm,
to Google Sheet writes that what I want to do is that I want to write data or update data because the row exists. If the row didn't exist,
yes,
I will create data, but the row exists, so
okay,
I'm going to update data. And I'm going to tell him to search in column A because that's where the zip code is. And in column A, I want to look for that zip code. So I'm going to tell him, look up column A, this zip code, and that's where I'm going to write the history of that city. That's the idea. But I'm making a
now, are we going to
mistake.
try to do it? Are we
Yeah.
going to try to do it for every zip code, or because that would
Yeah.
be even larger number? Should we do it for every city, or
No, it's going to do it for every city because I ignored
okay?
the zip codes. So it's
You're
going to
right.
do
You're
it.
right. Okay.
Yeah, it's going to do it for the city, comma, state. But here
Yes.
we have to do something else before. Uh, right now, the first Google Sheet gives us the 3 zip codes, one per line, one per row. So I need to create a loop so that every time we write in the Google Sheet, we write in the right row. We don't mix up the data. So I need the
Right.
list command. So that's how we're going to use the list to split the row data. So I'm going to use this list, and I'm going to say, I'm going to transfer the current answer that we got from the lookup. I'm going to
Mhm.
transfer it right here. So now, technically, it is equivalent. When I do this, when RTILA will run, it will be equivalent to 35004, 35005, and 35006. So when I put this, it's actually, once it runs, it means this, because that's what we got from the lookup. Make sense?
It does.
Okay. And this is important because now the list can loop through the commands one by one. It will first
Mhm.
use this, and once it finishes the job, it will use the second one and the third one. Now after that, I will fill the list into the Google Sheet, and I will tell it, go to look in row A for the zip code. So I didn't do the right syntax. Open bracket, the list
Mhm.
name. So this will be the current zip code. So I will go and find this row that has this zip code, and then I will tell it to write history is in column. We have to find a way that this doesn't become yellow because we lose the site.
Mm.
History is in column G.
Yes.
So sorry,
That's right, because what we're searching, that's right, even though we start the search over in B, it actually gets printed in G. You're right.
yes. So, but I'm getting something wrong here. Oh no, sorry. sorry. Because we are writing now, I don't want case sensitiveness. I'm going to go write. Oh, la, la, I'm getting confused, sorry. So yes, we need to look up in column A the current zip code, which is our unique ID, which is right now the current value of list. And then we tell it to update the column G with history for that city, for that city/state. Let's test this first, because we want to see at least if we are able to write. So this normally should loop through all the first three and write history for that city in the 3 cells, unless I made a mistake. But the mistake that I'm doing already is that I didn't nest the Google Sheets inside the list. So that's part of the nesting course, the nesting lesson on
yes,
Academy.
I'm starting to learn a little bit about it. I've noticed that, like, when they say nesting with code, that means it's kind of indented. I'm
exactly,
starting to learn a little.
What you're doing with the Python language, yeah?
Yeah.
So it's the same concept. We're indenting. That means that it will sequentially do this for the current value that is in the list.
Yes.
So we look up the data. We get three rows of zip codes, and then we're going to loop through every row of zip code and write stuff in column G. That's what we're doing with these 2 commands at the moment. Let's see if it works. You know, as we are speaking, I'm trying to find a use case of learning step by step. So I'm bringing you around a bit longer way because I want us to go through some mistakes just to crystallize.
No, that's okay. That's okay. I mean, I know that I'm kind of coming back to the concept of, do we want to do this loop for every zip code when we sometimes have 3?
We are not doing it for
okay, we are doing it for the city.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Later on, we will clean up the zip code duplications, so please don't worry about that.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to.
No worries. We're doing it for Moody, Adamsville, and Adger in Alabama.
Yes. You're right. Yeah.
But I'm using the unique ID, which is the zip code for now. So this is the lookup. The lookup is working. We get these 3 lines. Now let's see if it should be writing into column G of each one of them, one by one, normally, unless I made a mistake. Data updated successfully. Okay, found rows. I don't see the change of data, so maybe it's here. Ah, yeah.
History for the city-state.
Okay, so
great job.
1. Yeah, but you only got 1. Ah, no, the second one. Okay, it's just slow. So it's updating the data, and the third one is probably being processed right now.
That's okay. That's what's so great about these automations, Mohammed, is, you know, it doesn't have to be tremendously fast, because it will be happening 24 hours a day.
Exactly, yeah.
You know?
And here, this is the speed of Google Sheet. Google Sheet has its own speed of reading and speed of writing. And because they're dealing with like 100 millions of queries, you know.
Sure, of course.
But like you said, we have time. We have time, and we can let it do the job. So I don't know if it's slow or if something stopped the 3rd row. So now, yeah, something is still running.
Okay.
No. Yeah. I have to confirm every time because I have an alert. So it's me. I didn't click.
Okay, but exactly. But we would not have the alert normally. Yeah.
We will remove it. Yeah. I will remove it after this.
There we go.
And then the last one. So now I was stopping myself, but if we look at the Google Sheet, we got the job done. There it is.
Outstanding.
So
that is outstanding.
That's already a nice result. Now let's make this dynamic.
Okay.
And now we're going to increase the complexity, because I'm gonna have a challenge for you.
Okay.
First, let's delete this because we want to write the proper data. So I'll remove it from the Google Sheet.
Mm-hmm.
And now we need first to feed to Google Sheet the city, comma, state with a prompt.
Mm-hmm.
So that for each
Yes.
city, we get a different history.
Yes.
So that means that now our lookup Google Sheet is only returning to us the zip code, which is not enough. We have to ask it to return to us the zip code, comma, the city, comma, the state in CSV format. So we need to modify our lookup now because we want to get those three information. So I'll go back to my
Mm-hmm.
lookup and I will just add here, return me A, but not only A. I want A and then C and D. That's what I want.
Mm-hmm.
So I want A, comma, C, comma, D. And let's test this. Let's see if it will alert us. So I'm going to remove this alert that was slowing our writing.
Mm-hmm.
So now what I want to double check is that instead of getting just 3 lines with the zip code, we should get 3 lines.
Uh-huh.
Each line has the zip code, city, state. That's what we want to double check.
Okay, exactly.
Yeah, and that would have improved our lookup command. So the first time you use the custom command, Google custom command, it looks complicated, but actually it's also becoming a template. Because every time you look up a certain rows and then you write in other rows and you just come and change the rows and their values. Sorry, the columns.
Absolutely.
Change
I
the
mean,
columns.
this template that we're creating is going to be tweaked to do so many things.
That's right, yeah.
Or edited, however you want to say it. It's going to be used in to create many other RTILA tools with very few changes.
So you see here what we get?
Very good.
We get
Yeah,
zip
the
code,
pipe seems to
the
be working
pipe,
too. Yeah.
Moody, pipe, Alabama, and pipe is good because it's a good delimiter.
Yep.
So now we know what to feed to ChatGPT. We need to feed the column 1, which is actually column 2 in human reading, and column 2, which is column 3. So that now we can build our prompt for ChatGPT out of the lookup. Yeah. And I think it's going to go through the writing, but I'm going to stop it just so that we can go and work on the ChatGPT prompt now.
Right.
Okay, let's go back there. And I will just, the time that it loads, I'm going to go and see if nothing was written. Here, it got time to write one thing. Okay, so let's clean it up. Okay. Now it also loaded sort of a cache, because here it's already gone, but it's okay. Let's wait. Maybe we should reduce the number of lines just for us to be able to learn faster. So let's say, I think even 10 lines is enough for us for demo.
Sure. Sure.
So let's just delete all the other rows and speed up our loading. Anyway, we have the backup of this data, so it's not being lost. Okay, here we go. We just work with this. Let's do that. Okay, now it's updated. Now it should be faster. So we're getting the data out of the Google Sheet. I'm going to collapse this list for now. We're going to deal with it later. Now let's use the ChatGPT command. And we want that ChatGPT creates for us the history for the 3 cities. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And here we need to use another list. we need to use a list, and we're going to call it list for ChatGPT. So I'm going to put it here. Let's call this one list hyphen GPT, because this is the list to feed data to ChatGPT. And what I want to feed to ChatGPT is the content that we get back from the lookup. So I say list ChatGPT, you will inherit the open curly bracket, the Google Sheet lookup, close bracket. Now, what we saw in the alert will be printed here, which was zip code, pipe, city, pipe, state. And here the data delimiter is the pipe. So it's important to put it here, that the delimiter, the column delimiter for the data that is in one row is the pipe. This way we can send different column values to ChatGPT. So now my list is inheriting the Google Sheet, and I put the right delimiter. Now I can throw ChatGPT inside, and now ChatGPT will be run for as many rows as will be inherited here. And now the current row, so now I can use the current row, which is the list GPT, and I can tell to ChatGPT, create a 150 words history for this CT double dot, and then I'm going to feed him open bracket, the current value in list GPT, close bracket, and hopefully it's going to return to us the for each city it's going to return to us a history.
Yeah, there's one little typo to after history you want to remove of, I think.
Okay, I will go and modify it. I'm looking now for my word, my ChatGPT key.
Yes.
That's what I need to feed also. Here. I'm going to put it on the other screen. Okay, I'm copying now my ChatGPT key. Okay. Here it is. So you said there is a typo.
Yeah, just
off like this for this city.
Yep.
Okay, and then what we want to do is that for each answer we want to alert what we get out of ChatGPT, so to verify, So I'm going to alert the current value of smart ChatGPT. So I will use again GPT answer double dot, and then I put in a new line, open bracket, the name of my ChatGPT command, close bracket. Then we see what we get one by one. And if we are happy, then we can go and see how to write it back into the Google Sheet.
Exactly.
Let's try this out. Also, let's see if it's actually faster now with 10 rows. It looks like there is still some stuff that is being loaded no matter how many rows. Okay, well, it's kind of faster. So I think the first lookup is still going to show us, okay, so this is what we get from the lookup. Now this is going to be fed to the list for ChatGPT, and then we're going to get answer by answer, city by city. Okay, so you see Moody, Alabama.
There we go.
That's good. Moody, Alabama, a vibrant city located in St. Clair County, has a rich and diverse history as early as the 1800s. That's not bad. Oh, it was named Parksville. Okay, that looks interesting. 20th century and so on. So we're sending the right data and we're getting the right data. And now the next one should be Adamsville, Alabama. So let's go now the second row and see what ChatGPT replies. Adamsville.
There you go.
That's correct. Very good. Also, around the same age. Originally called Tanglewood. You know, this could be something very good to get as a fixed data from ChatGPT.
I think so.
Yeah, you can get like current name, old name of a city, which is
Yeah,
pretty, it's charming.
it is. You're right.
Because probably in a city you may have some areas that still carry the old name of the town and people don't even know.
Right.
So that's cool. Let's see now for Adger. How do you pronounce Adger? Adger or Adger?
I think that's correct. Yeah.
Adger, Alabama has a rich history. Oh, this was inhabited by the Choctaw Native American tribe. That's also very interesting. Cool.
Yeah.
So I think we're getting some cute, interesting data.
I think so too.
And now
I think so too.
we need that data to be written instead of our static data. That's our next step.
Right.
So good. This is also another new progress. And I'm going to go, I let it load, and I'm going to go and delete again the static data that we just wrote. So let's clean this up. And here we want the real data, and I'm going to make it bigger so that we can also see better what we get out of ChatGPT. Okay. Let's go to our automation. So here, what would be better is that every time we get an answer from ChatGPT, we write into the Google Sheet instead of one by one. Then we deal with the city in one go, and then we go to the next city. So I'm gonna bring the Google Sheet right inside this, and I remove my second list. It's easier. So once after we get, so also let's remove this. After we get the answer from ChatGPT about the current city, I want to go and I want to find, so this is the name of our list.
Right.
I want Google Sheet to go in column A and find me the current value of list GPT, because now we need to write in the right row, which is not
E, I
Adler.
think, right?
No, which is for Moody, Alabama.
Oh,
which
yes,
has
yes.
35004. Yeah, that's the first one. So because now we have column data, I need to add the pipe, and I need to tell to this custom command, you're gonna go and search. So you see when list hyphen GPT has zip code, column, city, column, state, and I want to find the zip code. So I need to tell it, look inside the column A for the current value of list GPT, and then pipe 0, because that's where the zip code here is. So now it's going to go find the current zip code, which is 35004.
Oh, the zip code isn't in column 1, or
it's in column 1, human speaking.
yeah.
So in programming or CSV, it's column 0. So you have to remember what we get.
I remember they start with 0, but I was looking like there's a numbered column even further left. But that.
No, I'm talking about. Let me show you, because this is interesting and important. So
yes,
for you to get what I mean, let's alert. I'll show you here. So we're talking about what we are getting inside list GPT. So let's print it so that you can realize what's going on. So here.
Okay, I'm sorry.
So let's call it.
This is a learning opportunity for me.
No, definitely, and this is hard at the beginning because it's not natural. Programmers, developers, it's natural for them, but for business people like us, it's not natural. So I try to make it a bit more understandable for us. So what I'm doing right here is that I want to print what is currently inside list GPT for you to see.
Right.
Yeah, we print that before we even go and deal with the ChatGPT. So let's look at that. So first we have what we got from the lookup, which is 3 rows with 3 columns. That's the first lookup result, and that's what is going to be printed at first. Because we told the custom command, go and search for every row that has history in column B. So it's going to find us 3 rows. That's our lookup query. So that one works. We know it works. Just takes a bit of time. It's going to print it now. I think it's moving. Here it is. This is what we get from the lookup command. But then now we're going to feed the lookup command into the list GPT. But the list GPT is going to process this, but line by line. It's going to break it down. So the first cycle, you see, it broke it down and it converted to comma instead of pipe.
Yeah.
Yeah. So now we know what we're getting back from what is the current value of the list, and then from this, then we send to ChatGPT. But I just wanted to show you this is what we're dealing with when I was feeding the data. So because we are getting this value right now from the list GPT, and this is column 0, this is column 1, this is column 2,
Right.
in the
Okay.
CSV. So that's why I'm telling the next Google Sheet command, look in column A for list GPT column 0.
Yes.
That's why I use column 0, because it's the first column of the current line that we have inside the list. It's a bit weird,
Okay.
but it will become normal language for you very soon.
Right.
You know, the necessity makes us learn faster.
Right. Absolutely. So
It took
A
me-
is the 0.
No, so let's divide your thinking. When you're talking about the Google Sheet is using A, B, C, D. So you're right, A is 0. But that's not the way to look at it, Zack. Because you need to look at a piece of data alone. Don't compare it first to the Google Sheet. Compare to the data
Okay.
that you have. What is the line I have inside that list? That list, for now, has no relationship to the Google Sheet because it could come from another source. So you need
Okay.
to focus your brain on what is the current line I'm dealing with. And then you forget about Google Sheet. Then when we want to write into Google Sheet, then we look up in Google Sheet which column we want. Because otherwise
Right.
you're going, if you try to find a relationship between the Google Sheet and what you get in a command, at one point and another, it will not match.
I think I understand what you mean. It's really based on what is the first data point, not necessarily where it is.
Exactly. So what is the
Okay.
data? What is the data I have in front? I have to deal with me right now in this command. And then you go, and then once you are in the next command, it's a different context. Then you
Right.
focus your brain on a different context.
Yes.
So that's what we are doing here. The list ChatGPT, which has inherited the lookup, is now presenting the data line row by row. So the current row
Right.
that it will give us will be 35004, comma, Moody, comma, Alabama. This is what will be contained in here.
Yes.
So now I know that it contains this. So when I'm going to send the data to ChatGPT, I'm going to tell him, I'm going to say the current list value, pipe, and then the city in my current row is in column 1.
Right.
So this is city, yeah? And then I say city, comma, space, and then I'm going to copy this, and I'm going to tell him the state. And the state is in column 2 of the CSV.
Mm-hmm.
Column 2 of the CSV. So this will technically translate. What I'm sending to ChatGPT is I'm sending Moody, Alabama. This is what I'm sending right now.
That's row 2 though, correct?
Now it's row 1.
Okay.
Yeah, because the list will start with the first row, which is Moody, Alabama. Yeah. So I know that the first row has Moody, Alabama, and then
Yes.
I'm not sending to ChatGPT. If I send to ChatGPT if I do this, look, if I do a mistake, I do 0 and 1 because I follow the human way, the human reading way.
Yeah.
It will
Right.
send to ChatGPT, instead of sending city state, it's going to send 35004, the zip code, and instead of the state, it's going to send Moody. But that's not what we want to send to ChatGPT.
Right.
We want to send column 1 of our CSV line, which is humanly the second value, and then column 2, which has the state. So now we'll be sending Moody, comma, Alabama.
Gotcha.
But let's verify it. And
Yeah.
now, once we have that, then the current ChatGPT value, the answer we get, we're going to write it inside. Sorry, I'm going too fast. So remember that right now, I think the best is that I use a text document. Let's use a text document for us to also make it easy for our brain. Sorry, I'm dealing with multiple resolutions. Okay, this is
That's okay.
This is doable. When we do our lookup, let's do it properly for learning purposes. So I take this command name. So this command name, when we do the lookup, we're getting 3 rows of data, which is basically our data right here.
Right.
We're getting the 3 zip codes. I don't know if this is going to work. Yes. And then we're getting comma, and then for each zip code, we're getting the city and state. Let's see how it prints here. If I do this, no, it's not good. So I'm going to recreate the step-by-step form of the data so that then it will look better into our brain. So I'm making some mistakes, but I'm going to correct them.
Okay.
Okay, these are our first lines of data. Okay, so in CSV, this is what we get. So first step, our lookup is going to get us the 3 lines of data. That's our first Google Sheet lookup. Then we transfer the data to the list GPT. So let's take list GPT and let's express its value. So list GPT then, so let's call it list GPT cycle 1, because this is a loop, yeah? So cycle 1, it's going to present us, it's going to load this. And then on the second run, so second run here, it will hold the second stuff, the second value, the second row of what we fed it. It's going to be equal to this. So this is how it works, the data, as we're cycling through the loop. And the last one is this. So actually what we're getting is using a pipe. We were using pipe, if you remember. That's what we get as a return from Google Sheet. It's using a pipe instead of a comma. And then it gets transformed by the list into comma. So I'm going to reproduce 100% what is happening. So now we have 3 cycles, yeah?
Yeah.
And then let's loop through the cycles. So cycle 1, our first step is that we have the current value of the list is this, yeah? So and then we need to do a second thing. We need to feed to ChatGPT city, comma, state. That's what we need to feed, yeah? So that means that, because you see here, this is the current CSV line that is inside list GPT. So this is the syntax. The syntax should be open bracket. And if I want to if I want to feed the city, I cannot say list GPT column pipe 0, because if I say pipe 0, it's going to load the zip code. Because you see here, forget about Google Sheet. We are right now in cycle 1 of list GPT list. So inside this is the data that is being currently held. If I say
Right.
lookup list GPT column 0, it's going to look up the zip code. That's why I have to say lookup pipe 1. And if I look up pipe 1, it's going to load Moody. And then I say comma, and then I want the state. So the state, I'm going to copy again here. And the current variable value of the state would be column 2. So this is column 1, this is column 0, this is column 1, this is column 2 of my current CSV data that is currently in the current cycle of the list.
Okay.
So this is how it works. And because now I have this, it doesn't matter my cycle, as long as I feed to ChatGPT this, ChatGPT will get the current value. So I just did this for you to realize how the data is being held right now and why I use 1 and not 0. Does it make more sense?
Yes, I think so. I think so. I'm still a little rusty, but I'm gonna study.
No. It is very paradoxal or very unnatural because of the way that the rows are counted. They're not counted in a human way. Even the loops, when you have a loop in programming, they count 0 as 1. So for example, you want to run a loop, you say, I want to run it 10 times, so you will enter 10, but that loop will run for 11 times. because in programming languages, 0 is already a column. You know?
Right.
So once you get it, it works with almost all other places where programming is working. You know that these programming guys or these programming systems, they consider that the first column is column 0. That's how I talk to them.
Right.
That's a little bit how we have to change our mind. So hopefully with this repeating, it will start to come in our mind. So now this is my syntax to always get the city and the state. And this is what I'm going to send to ChatGPT. So ChatGPT here, I'm going to tell him, create a 150 words for this city. And then this is what I was sending it to it. But now we explain it. So now you see here, it will run the first loop. It will send Moody, Alabama. Then it will come back and it will do the same for the second row, which means that it will feed to ChatGPT Adamsville, Alabama. Then it comes back, it will read the third row, which will be Adger, Alabama.
Yep.
And now it will write. So I tell it, smart ChatGPT, I get the answer. So let's copy the name of this variable. Now, as soon as I get an answer from ChatGPT, I want to feed it into the current value. So I look up the current zip code. So the current zip code is in column 0 of our CSV. You see here? So here, this is what we are trying to get here. We want to send the zip code. So to send the zip code is in here, 0. The current zip code is right here, which is column 0 of this CSV value. So this is what I need to write, to look up for. I need to re-find back in column A.
I'm just seeing a yellow, I don't see the actual...
Yes, let me reload it. You're right, that's more helpful. So we're telling to ChatGPT,
there we go.
Yes, we're telling to Google Sheet, go and find me in column A the current zip code of my list. And the current zip code of my list is in column 0 of list GPT. So the current zip code is 35004. So it's going to go look up and say, hey, it's here in this row. So now we have the row. We can write inside that row. So now we can tell it, in that current row that you looked up, go to column G, which is history. And instead of writing my static stuff, I want to write...
Yeah, because now it's going to be the smart GPT or...
Exactly. So now I need to do open curly bracket, close curly bracket, and I throw inside the name of ChatGPT variable. So this is the name of the ChatGPT, because right now, the smart ChatGPT has executed. So it's holding our history. So now I say in column G, write whatever is contained in Smart ChatGPT command. Write it for me in column G of the current row that we have found in the lookup. So it will go, it find this zip code, and it's going to go find in column G and write here, write in column G. So we're getting there. And because it's a loop, it should work. I'm going to remove the alert because we know that it's working. Let's just try to see if we can save all the GPT answers in the 3 cells of the respective cities. Let's try it out. Do you say in English cross finger?
That's right.
Yeah. Cross finger.
We got this. You got this, I should say.
So what we are doing now, actually, Zack, is considered like intermediary advanced. So that's why it's a little bit hard to digest as a first encounter, but it's also the powerful phase of using this.
It really is. It's going to be so much fun to start plugging all the different Legos together.
Indeed. So we're still alerting the lookup, the very first lookup. We're alerting it, but after that, we're not alerting. We should be writing the data.
Right.
And now we will not see the answer from ChatGPT because I removed the alert. It should get the smart ChatGPT answer for Moody. Okay, there it goes, you see? Moody, Alabama is a coin, good. Now it's processing Adamsville, second row of the list.
Yeah.
So Adamsville there.
Fantastic.
We're starting to get some nice stuff now.
Now, as some people would say, I don't know why this expression came about, but they'll say, now we're cooking with gas. I don't know what that means.
We're cooking with gas?
That's right. I don't know why they say it.
Yeah, so,
It's
you know, like I like to say many times is, if it works for 3 or 10, it will work for 1,000. So all the stuff we've got, now you can go and fill up.
Right.
You can let RTILA work overnight for 200 hours until it does all the cities that you want. And then, and this is the right way to go. It's better that you build your data sets column by column, because then your mind is focused on one column, one prompt, one trouble with ChatGPT at a time. Because sometimes we ask ChatGPT to do too many things in one go.
Right.
So here we keep focus. So once you finish the history, then you create another column. I don't know, weather or restaurants, and then you deal with that column and fill it up for all the locations.
Yep. So just to clarify, the history in column B means that it has not been written yet, or that it has. I mean,
no, you're right. I forgot to do something. Is that I should have also instructed that after we got the history, here I should write history done.
Right.
Because otherwise it's going to do the job again.
Correct.
So let's do that. Now, so first let me clean back the data and we're going to do it again. So we need to write a second information. We're already writing the right information in column G. Now we need to add that we need to write in column B of that row. We need to change and write done or history done, whatever we consider as done, yeah?
Right.
So let's go to our last.
And I'm also thinking about and this is, I guess, making it more complicated. Once it's done for all of them for the month, how do I reset it back to
good question
to do? Yeah. Yes. Or how to, or, you know,
I'm going to show that
so that the following month it goes back and does the same thing.
Indeed, yeah. So I'm going to show you how to do it, but to do it, it will be it will take more time, but I'm going to show you how to prepare to do it.
Okay.
I think that's what is important. So first, let's update the status. And then that's also part of the lesson, you know, in the lesson status and what we've done in the course. We also say, save a date. Every time you do something, save the date. So we should actually save the date as well. Because the date will tell you, will allow you to do a conditional logic next month to say, whichever row which has a date that has more than 30 days behind, really
Right.
generate.
Yep.
That's what we know. So we need two things to update. We need to update the status and the date of the
Yes.
last action. Yeah?
Yes.
Okay. So let's first
Yeah.
update the
And
status.
that's what we would do every month on the 15th. We'll
Yeah.
start it over.
Very good. So let's first update the status, and then we will update the status plus add the date.
Okay. Great.
And that
Great.
will prepare you for the next round.
Okay.
So here in this Google Sheet, we need to do when we are writing data. You see here, you can write multiple lines. So every time you want to write something, you need to create a line. So I'm going to do a second line because we're already writing the answer of ChatGPT inside the G. And then I'm going to tell it, for that current row, go for column B, double dot, and replace or write, let's call it history done for now.
Okay. Okay.
Just to change the status. Let's now test
Yeah.
it. So you see, the more we advance, the more it's simple to add stuff
Yes.
because we have the motherboard.
Mm-hmm.
So I think we're still alerting the first lookup, which we could get rid of.
Yeah, which is still good, which is good. There we go.
So it reminds us. And now ChatGPT, I'm surprised ChatGPT is pretty fast. Huh? When we don't ask too much, when we ask like 100, 200 words, it's very fast.
You're right. You're right.
There, see, it's very fast, including the writing time of Google.
It changed the name right after too.
Yes,
That's great.
so we got it right. Now we're updating the column B, and we're updating the column G.
Very good.
We're talking business.
Oh yeah, this is exciting.
Okay, cool. We're starting to master our data enrichment. Let's now add one more complexity to prepare for your next thing. So we will create a custom command for getting the date in a specific format. We will release it very soon. But for now, I'm going to show you how to use a JavaScript. So we have this command called dynamic JavaScript, which allows you to create any form of information using a JavaScript piece of code. And I want to show you how it works.
I remember that was the JSON code. From the course.
Yes, that was our how we call it, the formats JSON and CSV. So JavaScript now. I'm going to show you something that we can dive on another lesson. But I just want to use it right now to get you the date. So let me show you something right here. If I switch to inspection, but just to create. So let's say I have this date property, and I'm going to test my code. I'm going to add a filter, and here I can put JavaScript code. I can put any JavaScript code. I have this ready-made JavaScript code that I have in my documents. And you see here, it gives me the current date and hour and minute of right now. So I'm going to use this piece of code, which asks the computer to get let me know the date, the month, and the day, and the current hour at the timestamp at the time zone of this computer, and then write it in this format. This is what this code does. So when you are on the property side, you need to save the date or the value inside the variable name called field value. So field value is the variable name we use for properties, to manipulate the property value. It's called field value. But right now, I need to call it value because I want to use it inside a command. I want to manipulate a command, not a property. So when I use a command, and I'm going to use the dynamic command, the dynamic JavaScript, this one. So dynamic JavaScript, I'm going to put it even before we go to. So what are we doing? The same minute. Yeah, let's do it for every time we get an answer from ChatGPT. So I'm going to rename this, and I'm going to call it dynamic-date. And this dynamic variable is going to acquire the current date, hour, and time thanks to this JavaScript code. So this is a very powerful command because it allows you to put any JavaScript code. Let it execute it and save whatever result you have out of your code into the variable called value, and this will acquire the JavaScript work. So now I have actually the date and the minute in this variable name. I can also write it. I can go here and I can tell to my GPT command, I can say, not only you're going to write history done, but instead I'm going to actually put history hyphen open bracket, my dynamic date, close bracket. So now it's going to write history hyphen the date and the hour.
Right.
Yeah. And
oh, wow.
Now you have something that you can work with because it tells you two things. It tells you history is done on this date.
Yep.
Now you can prepare for your updates. So I do that.
Oh yeah, I can definitely see where that's going to be valuable.
Yes. You start
We're learning all the cheat codes from Mohammed, gang.
Yes.
This is why you tune in.
Indeed. We're trying to share the maximum. So let's delete everything to see that we're doing that work. So we're now reaching really a good level of maturity with our data enrichment.
Yes. I can
can
definitely see why it's valuable to only do 3 at a time, because as the complexity grows, yeah.
Yeah, and also like do one data enrichment at a time, like deal with one column, finish the column.
Yes.
Sometimes we want to do too much as human. We're like kids. We are so excited and.
Oh, that's me. That is me right now. I want it done yesterday, but if it would not be done correctly.
So I made a mistake, Zach. I removed completely the status. I removed the history which we need in the lookup. So now it says no matching. So actually the command works because it's looking for history in column B. It finds 0.
Okay.
Because Mohammed deleted the status. So let's
gets the Homer Simpson dolt.
Yeah. But it's good. That means we're really dealing with we need to take our statuses seriously. Like you cannot have variations in the way you write the status. So let me put back this because this is what the bot is expecting to find to do the work. Okay, now we can launch again the bot. Also, let's yeah, it's okay. The first alert, we can also keep it. Okay, let's see the output, and then I want to show you one more case just to again emphasize on the status. But let's see if this works first. Okay, we get the lookup data. That's good. Corrected the mistake. We should start to get some answers from ChatGPT by now. There we go. And you see history, it has something now.
Oh, and it's got the timestamp. I love it.
It's there. And then the last one is coming up. And there we go.
Oh, so that's great.
Now we're dealing with data that is coming from programming. We're dealing with data that comes from ChatGPT. So this is already quite a good amount of data, yeah?
It really is. It really is.
Just to
so useful.
Cool. So let's just do this case here. Let's say I only want to update this and this. because this is where the human works come. Let's say you come and you supervise and you say, I'm not happy with this line and this line. I want to regenerate the data. So you change the status. So that's where is the power of, you know, in the industrial world, in the robotic industrial world, the physical robotic automation, they have this concept called robotics, and then they have another concept called cobots instead of robots. So cobots are cooperative robots that needs human to create a work. And actually RTILA and the way we're doing now is not robotics. The real thing that you have to put in your mind as a business is that this is cobotics.
Yes.
How me and my team.
I'm writing this down. This is a great word for me to write down for the day. Cobotics.
Cobotics and cobot instead of robot. Because we cannot get the human out of the equation. We will have too many problems in our business data. You always need to have human supervision, human verification, human input. And this is how you organize it from day one. So you see now, I noticed that something is wrong and I just want these two things. And because we have followed our status flows and, you know, like in the lesson, so now I can guide my bots as a human with just small instructions. So let's see if the bot now will recognize and only do these 2 rows instead of a sequential, which should be the case. So let's go and launch it again. Another thing, sorry. So there can be different systems that write into your Google Sheet. We could, for example, have a Zapier automation or another software or a human that comes and puts data in. And then the RTILA bot will be trained to react to specific keywords in specific columns. So now you can get RTILA to work with different softwares, different humans, different data coming in. As long as you, Zack, you keep that discipline of the status should always have this value and only this value. Don't come and write history with IES, because then it will break the bot's logic. So this is where standardization of data is super important. So now that I highlighted that point again and again, let's make it run and see what it does.
And I think I can see how once we get this enrichment section down, it's going to be duplication of the enrichment and just other parts of the sheet.
Exactly. Yeah. And even sometimes you can duplicate the sheet. You take another entity, keep all the same bots or the same automations, but then just change the URL of the Google Sheet and change the data and the columns, and then you're like half of the work is already done.
Yep.
So you see now the lookup only find 2 results: Alger, Alabama, and Arab. Oh, there is a city called Arab. That's my people.
That's right. That's right.
So let's see now if we update those 2. Yes, you see it updated Alger, and now it's only going to update Arab and do the job for Arab only without updating the others. There you go. We're good. We're good. Our logic is working. And now you can go and put history on all 10, and then it will process all 10.
Wonderful.
Yeah. So I think we covered quite a bit, and we're starting to get some data. So we broke through the initial slow movements.
Yes. No, those are tremendous movements, and I think we can continue. We can get some help from a couple sources on the ChatGPT, but this, learning to do the looping and learning to get some documentation of our progress is amazing. And so,
and maybe
we are almost there.
No, you're already there, and I think the next exercise for you, Zack, with your team, what I would suggest as a next exercise is to do this, to find another. Let's prepare your homework. So-called
yes,
homework.
Absolutely.
So let's create a new column right here. Let's define. A new column on the left.
I keep forgetting how late you're staying up. I really appreciate you staying up so late with us.
No worries.
I hope you get some rest after this.
Yeah, no, I have my rhythm. I do a nap. We lived in Spain for almost 2.5 years, so we have the Spanish way. We do the siesta.
Oh, that's good.
Cut
That's
my
good.
day in two, you know.
That's good.
So here, what is the next data that we can get from ChatGPT so that you can create your next loop of enrichment? Something like history,
Yes.
something that is stable. Maybe ChatGPT can get, no, the population, we can get it from the census. We already have it. But
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
let's think of,
I think like the amenities, the activities that are popular in each city, um,
oh, yes.
maybe the restaurants, things like that.
Yeah, but the
Things
restaurants, you told me that sometimes it will give you a restaurant that is closed, yeah?
right.
I have another idea.
Okay.
Let's say, I mean, even if it's a bad example, but I'm trying to find something that even if it's up to 2021, the data could be relevant. For example, the highways. The highways
Uh-huh.
must have been built before 2021. So if, let's say, I
Right.
wanted to know what are the highways that lead to this city, maybe ChatGPT could tell us the highways A7, B2, I don't know how they are named in the US. Maybe. Or,
Interstate, the interstates. Yeah.
oh, okay, that's how it's called. Interstate? Interstate.
Hmm.
Yeah,
The interstate highways. Uh-huh.
or something else, or like for this city, maybe it could pull us the current mayor. Do you use mayors
Yes.
in America? It's called mayor. Maybe,
Yep.
or at least the last mayor or something like that. I'm just trying to find something that is like the history that could stay relevant.
Oh,
And
yeah, yeah. I mean, the governor in each state is usually a big one, but that's the state, not the city.
yeah.
Mayor definitely for the city.
So
Um,
let's say next GPT prompt. Let's call it that way
okay.
as an exercise for you. Find that prompt that will give you a good result that is timeless or that is not
Uh-huh.
affected by time, and then you define the
Okay.
prompt. And then what also you can get uh, as an exercise is that you need a new status. So you need a new status for the new next GPT prompt. So you can call it status next GPT. And now your
Okay.
exercise is to do what we have done using this column B as a status and column G as the column where we write. Now your column status is the column H, and you're going to write the data in column I in English. If you can do that, this is the best logic learning for you, or the best logic
Yes.
step.
Okay. Now, again, I'm writing. Yeah. So the H column will be giving a status for
For the
column
content
I.
for column I, exactly. So your
Okay. Okay.
lookup, yeah. So you're gonna look up, instead of look up the content of column B, which used to have history, you're gonna look up the content in
Hmm.
column H for whatever status you have defined. So for example, let's call it to do. Let's just use this for
Hmm.
now. To do.
Hmm.
So you're gonna look up to do in column H, and for all the rows that have to do in column H, you're going to send some stuff to ChatGPT and then get some answers and write them back in column I. You can almost duplicate what we have done with the first two
Yes.
lookup right,
Okay.
and then you put them beneath and you do another lookup right. So
Okay.
let me prepare for you that. Let's do it in this way. Again, this is like an organizational good habit. And also, maybe I can delete this for now to always start with a clean slate. Okay, here we go.
Yeah, that makes sense. That would be a good practice. Okay.
Yeah, it's is it loaded? I want to show you one last good practice before you do
Sure.
that.
Sure.
Okay, so here we had, let's collapse everything. Now all
Okay.
this group, let's put it into a folder. So new command, and I create a folder, and I push the folder up, and this folder is called history update or update history.
That's
Update
right. That's right. So
history.
now it's a saved Lego.
Exactly. Now I have my Lego, and now I can duplicate the whole Lego, call it update, whatever. This is next GPT, and now you go and tinkle or twinkle around with with this new block.
Exactly. Just change the items inside. Yes.
Exactly. Yeah. So I'm going to save this and I will send it to you. And this way, if you
Wonderful.
organize yourself with these good practices, you will always have your brain, and then also you can collapse everything and focus on whatever you want to do right here.
Wonderful.
So that's the way.
That's
Okay.
great. I can't wait to practice on this over the weekend.
Yeah. Like you told me, try to keep some weekend for family and personal and stuff. That's
Oh yes, I will. I'll maybe Monday morning. I don't want to get in trouble with my wife, but I'll
Yes. Indeed.
I'll think about it this weekend.
Yeah, you're right. So I stopped my share screen, and voila, we did hopefully something that is useful to you and useful for the community, because
Oh, absolutely. Fantastic progress again, sir.
yeah, you know, you're really like, you're on the highway of using RTILA with this kind of knowledge. In terms of, so we've done data enrichment, we haven't done together data mining or data scrapping, but
Right.
you could also have like a block that goes to the federal state website to get some data, and then we can scrape the federal state data for every location, come back and update the Google Sheet.
Yes, I've been watching some of the other videos on those tools, and we'll be using those tools also. This is probably going to be our primary use for RTILA, at least as compared to others. It'll be the thing that probably makes us most different. But I think it is, we're going to use many of the tools that I've seen you teach in your videos.
Definitely.
So thank you again for all the time you've dedicated to us, Mohammed. I'm excited about the the tool, the ability to scale it like I think we will. I'm going to stop the recording for just a moment on some of the last part here.
Yes, I'm also going to stop the recording.
Yep.